Well, build my gallows and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance.
Hello everybody, welcome to Longbangers in association with Leeds Spirits. I'm Matty.
Hello, I'm Colin.
And I'm John.
How are you both doing this evening, guys?
I'm good.
I did a little clap there. I was excited to get started, and then I found myself just a wee clap and a hand drop. I was just eager to do it. Sorry, John, I interrupted. You were saying I surprised myself with my clap, which isn't the first time that's happened.
No, I think I was just going to ask how you are, because I think quite often you ask how we are, and we overlook you and how you're feeling.
Okay, gesture as a matter of way. So did we really care? That's what they ask.
Over my my dysentery.
Your gas dysentery.
My gas dysentery through the through the week. So that's nice, isn't it? All better. What was it? It was Friday night, wasn't it? So did they actually have dysentery? I was just otherwise engaged. I couldn't go on the Twitter, and it was transfer deadline day. Really want to have nobody doing it. So I can. Right, we'll touch briefly on transfer deadline. In fact, not necessarily transfer deadline day, but the transfer window. We'll touch briefly on it. But I think what we'll do is we'll probably take that extra time and dedicate tonight's episode to the game against Kilmarnock today. Before we go into anything, I just want to pass on our condolences for everyone involved in the podcast to Saul Bamba's family and friends. Obviously, that was tragic news that that broke just last night about his sad passing. So he was like a proper top quality player when he was at Hibs. One of these players that came with a reputation for being a bit like hear him, scare him, but actually when you saw him, he was terrific.
Yeah.
So sad news. Right, transfers activity. So we wrapped up yesterday bringing in Nectar Triantis and John, who's the injured player again?
Jack
Iredale.
I keep wanting to call him Jack Ireland. It's going to be an absolute nightmare for the rest of the season for me to try and remember his name and get it right.
And we don't know if he's injured or not, do we? Like, it was somebody had suggested it on a WhatsApp group, and nobody was able to verify it, which is the only reason I dropped it in there. Like, I'm not. He may very well be fully fit and ready to play, and we've just somebody's got the wrong end of the stick with a message. But so how do you think the squad's looking? Just kind of briefly, John, what are your thoughts on how the squad's looking? Like I say, we'll cover this in extra time properly, but
my gut feeling is that I think it's okay in terms of numbers. Like we had a chat, we said that we were looking for 7. I think we've got 11 in, 17 out in one form or another. So Colin, you can do the arithmetic on that one, where that puts us as to whether we're positive or negative in terms of numbers. But I think we're okay. And I'd suggested that before when I talked about like quantitative versus qualitative. The qualitative aspect of how the team does we'll see throughout the coming weeks, months and season. But I think on the face of it, the numbers, I think there was a bit of an acknowledgement in Malcolm Mackay's interview that it's maybe still a little bit unbalanced, and certainly some of the supporters feel that way. But I want to say that we're maybe in at least as good, or if not slightly better than where we were last season. And we already discussed that the numbers that we brought in was greater than we expected.
Yeah,
Hibs to be doing based on what was coming out of the club.
Colin, same question to you. Did we in a better or worse state than we entered the transfer window?
I think we're probably better purely because we've filled all of the gaps we were asking for. Like we spoke about more. Like John said, there's probably still a lot of players there that we don't want or need to be harsh about it. But you can't just you pay them off, or you can't make them go unless you give them their wages right. So there's probably more to go. But I think on the way in, it's hard to. They've only played a handful of games. Some of them haven't played any because they're injured, or they've just joined. So you've got a load of them there that are undecided. I thought Obita was decent today, so that's promising. I'm glad I stuck by him when I had the chance to write him off. And I think defensively we look okay. I just think we were chasing a attacking midfielder
Yeah.
2018 or whatever he is, for all that time, and we never had a bit backup to a contingency to that. And I was a wee bit disappointed with that, although obviously maybe David Gracie in a different way and thought, well, I'll just bat in our 6 and then I'll play one of the guys assigned to be thought as a 6 in that position. Maybe that was the thought process, but it just looks a bit strange that you go after somebody like that, balls out on it and lose it, and then you have a second choice. Because McKeown Celtic's second choice, they never go whoever it was their first choice was.
Yeah.
That's why they came in the last minute for McKeown. We should have had something like that lined up. But
okay, we'll go a bit more into depth on it on Monday. I don't think we should have wasted any time trying to get McKeown after it became evident he was going to Celtic. I didn't see what the value was chucking another bid in on deadline day.
all the conversations we heard that Gensel and that having with Dundee throughout the month, I think they just says, listen, we're waiting for Celtic coming in.
Aye.
Like, that's what we're waiting on. That's why they were knocking back the bid, because the player obviously had said, away with Celtic. So just fucking go and look at somewhere else, and then if he's still available on transfer day and Celtic then he come in, go in then.
Aye, because you'll know, yeah, you'll know Dundee would let us know if they wanted to sell him or whatever. But like we were getting, and you obviously like how watertight this information is, that. But we had messages for folk, and I saw on there's a WhatsApp group that's got loads of podcasters for different teams in it. And they were talking about it. They were like the Dundee side were adamant it's going to Celtic. Fucking nailed on. They're like, it'll happen. I was like, I did. I said it's coming to Hibs. They're going, fucking, is he fuck? And so if we can it, and fans for the clubs can it, Hibs surely somebody at Hibs must have can it. I just think, how naive are you that you're still wasting time thinking, okay, what we'll try and get a jump on Celtic? Like, you're not going to beat Celtic typically if they want them, especially if the lad is a Celtic fan. Anyway, that's by the way.
Can I ask how many WhatsApp groups you're in where so many folk are in the know? But
everyone I'm in.
Everyone, but I am the least in the know out of everyone that I'm in as well. The last to know.
That's going to be the new hashtag, isn't it? Or the new abbreviation. IMO, IME, LITK.
The least in the know. If I genuinely am, it's never got a fucking clue what's happening.
It's right, just, do you know what? See, when you're part of those conversations, it just feels nice to be involved, even if it's pitch.
Yeah, I like the drama of all. I like the wee bit of gossip, and you're like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if that's true. And there's, I mean, some folk just regurgitate it. Like, there's no filter. They just regurgitate. They see it, regurgitate it. Sometimes that frustrates me. You're like, well, go check if it's right first. Like, if you're going to, and some folk like it. Some folk I think do that, and it can still turn out to be wrong, even if it's been kind of passed on in good faith. Some folk get lucky as well. Like with stuff like we had a situation yesterday, didn't we? Where like by accident we stumbled across Triantis coming to Hibs early doors. It was in a group, and it was because somebody had misinterpreted another message and just chucked the name in, and then lo and behold, I don't think it was me. Lo and behold, it ended up actually happening. And anyway, right, all the shite. Hibs at Killie the day, 1 each, it finished. Let me get the team sheet up and I'll get your thoughts on it. So the big news was Nicky Cadden dropped out and Triantis came in. How did you feel about the Triantis deal? Anyway, I might as well, because that was a change. I'll get your thoughts on it, and then I'll say what I thought as well, because I had a right old fucking moan about it, and I could have maybe shouldn't have. John, what were your thoughts when we signed Triantis yesterday?
I didn't hate it. So despite last season, like I think there's that atmosphere, if you like, around him, where I think in his first couple of games he's given away 2 penalties. I think one was it one against Celtic?
Yeah.
He's also had that comical free kick that he's managed to cannon off 3 Hibs players, and it gives that impression, or gives people that perception of him that he's just an absolute lunatic. However, there was definitely some good qualities about him, and you saw some of those qualities against Kilmarnock today. Like there is, and I think when Montgomery talked about him being, or he was touted as being like a centre half, and that was where he'd left Australia to go to Sunderland for. But then I remember we moved him out of defence maybe after those 2 games where he's given away the penalties, and he seemed to, I'm not going to say like thrive or flourish, but he seemed quite natural in that role. And then we started having a wee bit of a laugh and calling him, well, me and your son Josh calling him Triantis. And I thought he had a good game today. And I wonder, and I wonder if this comes back to what we said before, maybe like the reverse of when players come in with high price tags, like just give him a chance, like try not to judge him on some of the shit things that happen. Like, just give him a chance to go out and play. And I genuinely thought they had a really good game today.
Bob, what were your thoughts on it?
So you're asking me now after the game, ask me before the game. And so I thought he was okay. I thought he was decent last season when he went in the midfield, right? Because I think he's passing and that's decent. But on Friday, I was like, fuck's sake, we're chasing an attacking midfielder. We've signed somebody, a centre half, that we're going to play out of position just because he's been here before. That was my thoughts on Friday. No, yesterday, as you keep fucking referring to. Yesterday was
course,
the racist.
yeah.
game.
I was going to call him up, but thanks for the call.
It's more than once.
Sorry, everybody. Yeah, glad you did the call. Thanks
If you
for
say
that.
it once, then I'm fine with that. Yesterday was the racist queue. That's why you've lost track of that day. So, that was what it was. But then I thought he was good today. So, maybe I'm wrong. You know what I mean? But that's the difference. Like giving somebody a chance, I suppose. But it just seems
could you repeat that, Colin? Did you say maybe I'm wrong?
Maybe, yeah, I said maybe.
The one maybe is no good. There's no making it into the episode. Like I'm finally going to edit an episode. Take a word out. I thought it was a mental signing there. Like if I'm totally honest, I was like, we brought in a guy to play out of position, and a guy that could not burst into the first team and hold in a first team spot in a team that finished 8th last season. I was like, surely there's actual defensive midfielders. If that's what we're wanting, you could go. There's hundreds of players that we could have gone out to get. You know what happened there? Just got kicked out. My whole everyone's just went off. My son's laptop, but they can't even a power cut. Maybe that's it. The how odd, like the monitors went off and everything, but the laptop's on battery. Like that power cut wouldn't have affected it. Yeah. Anyway,
we are back recording. I think
we have pressed record again. I'm just taking us off on a tangent. I think I was moaning about Triantis. Anyway, I didn't see the logic in it. But and we'll talk about it. He was excellent today, probably man of the match, and I'm hopeful that my initial reaction of, oh, for fuck's sake, what have we done that for? That's ridiculous. Proves out to be an equally ridiculous point of view. So, right, here's the lineup. I need to share my screen again, so I had it up on the screen. So we had Bursic, Miller, Ekpiteta, Hora, Boyle, Newell, Kwon, Obita, Triantis, Molotnikov, and Kaharovic. I was going to have a bash at Hayokyu. Is that how you would say that?
Hayokyu.
And there's a Kwon. Right. Any surprises for you, John? In fact, I ask that every week. I don't ask any surprises. What did you think of the starting lineup, John?
I thought that I couldn't quite work out what formation we were playing. I think I've done that as long as I've been a Hibs fan. You look at the lineup and go, all right, I look like he's there, blah, blah, blah. And I couldn't quite work out if it was going to be a 3 at the back today or 4 at the back. So I think maybe the only surprise was Triantis starting. I had a wee look to see if Iredale was on the bench, just to see whether that would dispel the is he or is he not injured rumours. I suspect that he wasn't on the bench because he's maybe not had a training session with the team yet, and we'll see him next week. But that would also give him the opportunity to go over his injuries. So I don't know if that proves anything. No other surprises though that jumped out at me.
Colin, what about you?
I think I was a bit surprised Miller started ahead of Cadden. And I thought Bowie might have gone and broke into the side because I think he's been impressive off the bench. So I was hoping he might start, but then that formation, it's only one up front in it, so it doesn't allow for the modern day to have 2 strikers unless you play 3 at the back. So Cadden and Bowie were the 2 that I thought might start. Other than I didn't do the prediction team today actually in the thing on that, but so I couldn't say how many go wrong. But that's probably what I would have got wrong. I think I don't think Miller's playing great, and I don't know if Cadden's still not be able to play 90 minutes or something. But I was glad Molotnikov still kept his place though.
Yeah, he struggled today. We'll talk about the game as we go. But I thought there was a couple of players struggled to get going today and make a proper impact, whereas another couple properly shone. Mariah Welsh on the bench. I came right. What do you think the future holds for Mariah Welsh at the club? Came in January on a permanent. He's obviously got like a decent pedigree behind him. I reckon that this starting 11 isn't far off the starting 11 that David Gray will go with. There'll be maybe one or two that interchange, but I think that midfield, Kwon, Triantis and Newell is probably going to be his main three.
Yeah.
What happens with Mariah Welsh now?
He's just back up, isn't he? That's it, because he's brought two in. Sorry, John. He's brought the two in, and the other one's his captain. So it's most likely that is going to be the three that play. And Campbell and Mariah Welsh are going to find themselves scrapping to be first sub, and then Levitt as well.
I was going to ask, Matty's helpfully taking the line up there, so I'm going to try and do this from memory. But
Sorry.
Colin, you mentioned Levitt there. And I was going to say, is the bigger question less about Mariah Welsh and more about someone like Amos, for example, because he's not on the subs. Like, the way that I think about it is you have your starting 11, you have like what you think might be, and David Gray's obviously mentioned that there's going to be like some tweaks and what have you along the way, horses for courses kind of thing. But you have your starting 11 and you have the guys that will come in and replace and try and, I don't know whether it's like fresh legs or like try and not disrupt the rhythm of the team too much. But like, where's Amos? Like, I can see Mariah Welsh coming into that game and doing some running for some guys, or maybe someone dropping out and Mariah Welsh starts, for example. Oh no, sorry, Levitt is there. Fucking shite. Completely overlooked it.
Levitt, Amos wasn't though, which was the other one that you mentioned. I guess these guys just have to like do their best in training and wait for an opportunity, because Newell will get suspended, Kwon will get suspended, and Chance will get suspended over the course of the season, or they'll pick up knocks, and they're not going to be available for every game. So what these guys like Mariah Welsh and Amos and Levitt need to be doing, Josh Campbell fits into that bracket as well, is when they do get a chance, they absolutely have to grab it with both hands. And no cover is difficult though, because you know about like players needing maybe a run of games to kind of get like a proper sense of what they're like. But I don't think these boys can afford to take 3 games to get up to speed now. They need to be, if they're getting in the team, they're performing, and then trying to make it difficult for Newell or Kwon or Chanis to get back in ahead of them. But I guess a big ask, and I think we're starting to see what David Gray's sort of starting 11 looks like. He has talked about horses for courses. You might have different games, you'll see the different lineup, but I think that's broadly what we'll get. The game itself, John. In fact, I'll call him first for this one. What was your your overall summary of how the game went?
I thought it was a fairly even game. I didn't think it was a great game, and I've seen folk, read folk, and heard folk say, "Oh, it's the pitch," but it's like we always just blame the pitch when we didn't win through there.
Pitch is shite though.
Aye, I know, but it's like it's what if we just won there, we wouldn't have won about it. You know what I mean? It's like we throw points away through there all the time.
I was moaning about it. We were 1-0 up. Just saying.
Aye, right. But you probably saw it coming then. But it was. I thought it was fairly even. I think the stats reflected it was even. I think nobody was really playing that nice football. They had that sitter was worse than Verdes in the first half. I would say.
Oh, aye.
For Vassell, he obviously hit the post as well. We hit the bar. That was a great run for Triantis actually in the second half. And Kuharovic's shot for halfway, it was tremendous.
Aye.
But I mean, we never had like clear cut chances. You know what I mean? It was like they probably had the clear cut chances. We had the sort of extraordinary sort of hits and that. I thought it was a fairly even game. Draw was probably right. It was so late that you feel more gutted about it, and it feels more like a defeat.
John, same question to you. What was your overall take on the game?
Not dissimilar to Collins. I thought the opening 20 minutes, I watched the game with my mate McBee the day, and I made a comment about the first 20 minutes being absolute dreadful. I was really, really, really bored, and it just seemed like I think the way that I described it was maybe it was a war of attrition. It was just like almost head tennis, just like bodies like try to win that midfield battle is what it felt like. That being said, I thought probably towards the end of the first half, or maybe from like 20 minutes onwards, I thought Hibs had started to win those battles, had started to take a bit of command of the game. And I think that carried on into the second half. However, Colin mentioned the shot of the post, and there was also one that Vassell missed off the line. That I'd said that Venti had been sent to Zwolle in Holland for less. It was a pretty shite miss. And then Newell scored, and I thought that we were probably good to win it. And then we've given away the penalty. But on the balance of things, like when you look at the stats, etc., like I think it was a really even game. So a draw is probably a fair result, albeit disappointing.
I thought the stats were a bit misleading. I was quite surprised when I saw them. Like Killie 14 shots to our 9, 3 on target to our 4. They had a bit more possession than us, but you very expect that as a home team. A few more passes, pass accuracy was a bit better. We had more fouls, more corners as well. We had. I thought like 15 minutes in, I was like, I think we were going to get 3 passes together all game. Like it just looked like one of these ones that we were struggling to get anything going at all. And I thought the turning point in the game was maybe Kwon's shot. He had a shot from the edge of the box. The keeper made a good save. Actually, a cracking effort for Kwon. And then Newell had a shot, but it was pulled back for a free kick, and Boyle made an arse of the free kick. But I think by that point, I thought we'd pretty much got a grip on the game, and we didn't really look in any bother. Kilmarnock sort of would get forward every now and again, but I thought we were pretty comfortable. The game was mostly played in their half. That's what it felt like. And in the second half, obviously, we came out and get the goal. Do you think Newell's meant it, or has he gone for a cross? What do you think?
I think he's had a wee look up as he's taken the pass off Boyle, and he saw the keeper in a David Seaman-esque no man's land, and just thought, thank you very much.
What were your thoughts, Colin?
I need to decide. When I first saw it, I thought he meant it. But I don't know, I've seen him do crosses like that, eh? Like, it's just, I don't know. I'd like to think he meant it. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say he meant it, but I'm not convinced.
His body shape was for whipping it in. Anyway, like he was either going for like a proper in-swing and cross, or he was going for that back top corner. Keeper was nowhere near it either. You already mentioned Karavic's shot call. That was early contender for goal of the season if that had gone in, eh?
Yeah, because Newell done well as well, winning the ball, and he knocked it on in for him, and then it just did. I thought he thought, fuck that, I'm not running all that distance. You know what I mean? Smash it. But his real side of the foot and it bent away, and you know, it was a real cracking strike. I think that it was on target, and the keeper had to do well to save it.
I think it makes it a better save, the fact that it was sort of bending and moving about the place. Here you go, Colin. I was taking notes through the game, and 73 minutes, I've got Cadden and Bowie on for Boyle and McCullough, and they've got Hibs pretty poor for the last few minutes. Killie looking a bit more comfortable. This pitch is fucking shite. Ball just bouncing about all over the place. So that was a good 10 minutes before we gave away the penalty. And John, the penalty. Oh, that's because it goes right on in 80 minutes is the next one. That's what I'm looking at. The penalty we give away, John, just what are your thoughts on it?
It was I don't know if I'd use the word infuriating or frustrating. It seemed, it was unnecessary. I don't think he needs to make that challenge. However, I think the commentators at the time were saying that he's maybe trying to get back into position. I don't know if he, like other people that are maybe a bit more versed in tactics and coaching or whatever, I don't know if he finds himself out of position. I know he's sort of like towards the D rather than his traditional sort of left back position. But I think the way that the player's going is he's running in a straight line. Players running from left to right, and it's a penalty. It's a free kick that won players before. Boyle did it, if you remember, against Rangers at Hampden, and I think he knows that he's made a cunt of it as well.
Yeah.
If I'm being perfectly honest, because I think he lies with his face in the turf, or sorry, the artificial turf, for a good few seconds afterwards, just like, I didn't want anyone to see me or look at me. I didn't want to see them. I think he knows he's made a cunt of it, and I think as well, it's a shiter for him, and I'm trying to find the positive, like the way that you would manage that if you were David Gray, because we already know that Obita's having a pretty dodgy start to the season. I think I'd mentioned last week that he'd came on a wee bit in the second half, where he'd made a few valuable interceptions, etc. And then he does that today in the final minute, like he's going to be feeling utter shite. And I think rather than crucify him and hang him out to dry, like we're looking for that maybe arm around the shoulder, for example, because we know what he's capable of. Like he was player of the season last year for a reason, albeit there was, a couple of goals that he's been involved in that Hibs have given away, but it's an attacking outlet for the ball side dollars into the box. We want to get him back to that sort of level, but he's made an arse of it.
When you're talking about how you manage it if you were David Gray, it brings me in mind of an incident that happened when I worked at HSBC. And my team did relationship management for like high net worth customers, right? And we had this mortgage incentive thing coming on, or a new product launch or something. So all the managers got called into this meeting room to get briefed on it, and it's on a conference call. I don't know if you've been on one where you've got the sort of the triangle sort of speakerphone thing in the middle,
spider phone.
So my manager, who was a proper, like, he's a sound guy, but a proper ball buster, like he didn't want to get on the fucking wrong end, wrong side of me. He was like being stocky, skinhead, and he was like bothered about shouting at folk and everything. So he's in already, and you can hear it's dialing in. So we're in the sort of the hold thing. And there's like all other managers sitting down, so I come and sit down, and the wee automated thing says like to mute the call, press star. Right, and so I've reached over and I've pressed the button, but I pressed the wrong button and it's hung up instead. Right, so, and Davey, this is like the equivalent if I could give away the parent. David went, "What you did, you pillock?" So I think that's what David Gray probably thought when Jordan Obita went into the back. Bruce Anderson, I think he probably went, "What you did, you pillock?" What was funny
is that who it was? Was it Bruce Anderson?
It was.
I had no idea.
And then
he scored that.
Ironically, as David like fucking angrily punched the fucking numbers back in to dial back in, the first thing that comes up after it dials is press this button to mute, and he just looked at me, he's like fucking hammered it down, and everybody in the room's trying not to laugh, obviously, right, because it's fucking hilarious, and I'm trying not to laugh at it, but what are you doing, you pillock? Which might be the episode of the podcast title of the night anyway, right? And that's right. Last two games we've played Dundee, we played Kilmarnock. We've gone into the closing stages of the game, go up, and not won either. So 2 points for 6. And if you take the St Mirren game in, so these 3 games take Celtic out of the equation, right? Because we're not expecting to beat them. But St Mirren, Dundee, Kilmarnock, we've got 2 points for 9 at the start of the season. That's the sort of form that killed us last season. Is this a worry that is repeating itself again already?
Yeah, it's probably worse than last season. Because we were beating Dundee. And these are the teams that finished above us last season. No way them, but like it's all teams that were above us that we've played, isn't it? We've not played anybody, and we spoke about to finish third. You need to beat the rest. That is the rest.
Yeah,
that's the best of the rest. So it's not a good start. It's not great for when you miss out by like when we go into that last game before to make the top 6. Like, if we just won a couple of these games, that would be the ones that would make us comfortable in that position at the end of the season. You always blame it on the Livingston away or the Motherwell away, whatever the last game is before if we had won that, we were top 6. Like, if we just didn't chuck so many fucking points away like this in the last minute, we wouldn't need to be worrying about the last game before the top 6.
And it changes the mood, John, doesn't it? Like, we're going for potentially 2 wins to 2 draws, but we've been the team that's been pulled back right at the end. It's a total difference. It's the same point for both sides, but it's a better point for them than it was for us today.
Aye, because I think if you look at the Dundee fans when they spilled onto the pitch, and I think the Kilmarnock fans behind the goal today, like they were jubilant, I think is probably a good word to describe it. But it's the same point, but it's how you feel afterwards about whether you've gained one or whether you've chucked a couple away. And I think I was having a wee daydream to myself there when Colin was describing it, because we will win a game soon.
Is it?
And I'd like to think it'll be St Johnstone, and I'd like to think that this is going to be like a wee bit of a monkey that we get off our back, because I know that, or I feel reasonably confident in saying that there are going to be fans amongst the support who will be getting antsy in the final 10 minutes if we're ahead. And all we need to do, and I know it maybe sounds a wee bit more difficult because of what we've done in the last couple of games, but all we need to do is just see it out. And if we do that, then I think we would be well within our fucking rights to act like a daft wee team who jumps on the pitch and starts hugging and carrying the players aloft for the pitch in celebration.
Aye, because
I think that will, like, that's the thing that we're talking about. Like, the only thing that really changes the way that we're feeling is to get a victory. And then to get sustained victories, it's like a little step, then you advance on the bigger steps after that. And I think we play a part in that as well. Like, we could be really fucking critical when things are bad. Like, we need to up our game a wee bit when things are starting to look a bit better too.
Yeah, just before we go, because I think we've got loads of talking points. I haven't looked at any of them, and apologies if this is covering one off, right? But we give a lot of fucking silly fouls away. That was a silly foul that cost the game as well, but like we gave more fouls than them. It was 22 or something. Did you read that out earlier?
17-10. 17 fouls and 10 for them.
And a lot of them are just like wee bumps in the back of somebody and all that, and you're like, fucking stop it. Like, it's the same every week. It's like, come on, you know that's got to get a foul. You've hardly touched them, but it gets given every week. It's not a one-off. It's like the referees are consistent here. If you bump into him, you're getting a foul against you. Stop fucking doing it.
And stupid areas as well, like the needless ones are the most frustrating.
I think the ones to not give away, the ones that have frustrated me for ages are when you're in their half and they're trying to shield the ball. Like, you know that they're going to go for it. Like Aberdeen, I forget the boy, it was their left back, Shea Logan, was really good at it. Like, really bad for being really good at it. There's areas of the pitch, I think, where you can give fouls away, and it's probably not where, like, selling on your own half, like, know the wee pitch like ones, and then there's the other stuff as well that we seem to get involved in, or certain players seem to get involved in, that we can do with cut out a game as well, because I didn't think the referee was consistent today, so he's given a foul against Kaharovic for, from my perspective on the pitch, he's not seen the guy that he's run into, and folk might say, well, you're looking at that through green tinted specs, but then you've also had I think Kaharovic has picked up a booking for that. There was a defender, I think, had his arm round Boy's neck as he drags him to the deck. I don't think he got a booking for it. And then his defensive partner on the other side, I think, does it a second time where he goes through the back of Boy and the player doesn't get a booking. However, I take your point that, like, just didn't give the silly stuff away, because I think the reality is with some referees, you just don't know what the fuck you're going to get.
Not only that, right? And not only are we getting loads of silly fouls away that then add up in collect bookings, it slows the game down. Because, you know, it's like, didn't give them the opportunity to fucking stop it and point the other point in and fucking rearranging and organising.
Do you think that was a failure in Hibs, or do you think that was something that McInnes has got drilled into Kilmarnock? Because that was the same sort of stuff that I've seen from Aberdeen sides of his in the past.
So they foul, like, rather than be fouled. That's like McInnes's teams would, but obviously no, today they got fewer fouls than us, but that is when they were at Masters. It is the wee niggly fouls that you didn't get booked for, but it stops the play. Unless them regroups, any moves that are emerging, that's like McInnes's Aberdeen used to do all the time. Just clip his heels, give away. You don't enough to get booked, but it stops the play. It's an easy free kick to give away, a wee tug of the shirt or whatever, and it disrupts the game. What about the red card? That's when we were talking. There was a potential red card in the first half. The boys slid in on, I think it was Miller from Yemen, and he caught him.
Yeah, it was
red or yellow. What do you think?
I'd probably be not happy if it was a red against us for it, because I think the boy, it could be a red, like, it was fairly high, studs were, but it was more like, I think Miller made it look better than it was, and Paul Hanlon said that in the commentary as well. But it could be red. It was early in the game, which is probably why it wasn't more considered.
Yes, yes.
VAR wouldn't overturn it if a referee's call that one, though. It's one of them where they would go, well, the referee thought it wasn't a red. And, you know, it's like a...
Being obvious, isn't it?
I don't know if that's the terminology they're using, but just the new sort of rules they seem to be applying. They're trying to give the referee more authority on it.
Mm-hmm. What about you, John? What do you think?
I thought at the time like it looked a bad one, because of the action by the Kilmarnock player, and then also the way the Miller's gone down afterwards. It's kind of suggested that he's like put him up in the air and he's almost done somersaults. That I think, and this is the weird thing there. Like I've talked about the need for clear rules so that there's no subjectivity, so that there's no variance in how referees judge the foul. Despite that, like I thought that there was, you might have VAR look at it, and I think VAR did look at it, and then just decided that it was fine. I think it was definitely a hard challenge. I don't think it was malicious. So a yellow's probably right, but like Colin says, I'm not going to be complaining about it if it gets sent off. But I'd be pretty pissed off if it happened else.
I think it was one of these borderline ones. I think if he'd given a red card, VAR wouldn't have told him to reduce it to a yellow.
Yeah,
and the same.
That's what I was meaning.
Aye, the same that if he gives a yellow, they're not telling him to upgrade it. Right, let's get the talking points. Neil Waters said, Kwon and Triantis, excellent in breaking up play and moving us up the pitch. Miko good in spells. Not a good day for Boyle and Rudy. Need to see games out. Always going to be a battle, but dealt with it quite well until injury time. 2 weeks to get everyone fit. Results will come soon. Kwon and Triantis, John, what did you think of their pairing together today?
I thought Kwon looked much better today than he did last week, but also had the benefit of watching on TV today that I didn't previously. I thought they both did fine. I thought there was, I thought Triantis just kind of, I'm reluctant to say strolled about, but I thought he looked relaxed. I thought he looked comfortable in what he was doing, and obviously he's had his wee run that I think it was maybe Newell got in his way. Otherwise, I thought he might have had a shot and then he's gone on to hit the bar. Kwon, I thought, looked tidy. He didn't seem to be under too much pressure. From memory, there's nothing sticking out that suggested that he had a poor game or did anything particularly wrong. There was one thing at the end where I think he's had like quite a nice return to try and relieve a bit of pressure, and then the ball's ended up going out of play. But I'd be really splitting hairs if I was to say that was a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. Rudy and Boyle, Colin, were the other ones mentioned this. I think Rudy struggled a bit to make an impact on the game, but Boyle's possibly the bigger concern. For going for early pre-season looking like he was the Martin Boyle of old to really struggling to make any sort of dent on things at all. Should we be concerned about the former Martin Boyle?
Aye, I think so. I think it is maybe time to give somebody else a run out there, but it'd probably be Bowie, wouldn't it? He could play
or Cadden.
Or Cadden, of course, aye. Although, is Cadden a right back or is he a right midfielder?
I think Cadden could play anywhere on the right, I think. He's probably weakest defensively, but
I heard Harry. I watched it down the slope transfer, or I'll call it the other podcast because it's really very funny.
Down the slope. You can say it's all right.
That's how the freelancer on the first list. Is that down the slope as well?
Well, we were just love it. We were on Twitter. We were on Twitter promoting that it was a good show. I think we would encourage people to watch it.
Good.
It's a good podcast.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it was Harry said that he's a right midfielder. He never played right back before he came to Hibs. I think that's right. I think he was right back in Motherwell. But so I think he has played right back quite a bit, and it's almost that folks see him running forward and getting crosses in and say he'd be better in right midfield. It's like, let's play about position. But I don't know. It's like we've got this fucking obsession at Hibs. We play players right position. You know what I mean? But
it's also a wee bit of the Stephen Whittaker debate, isn't it? We had that conversation about him for years. Like, where's he better?
Never ever played right midfield. You know what I mean? He was always a right back. Always. He's better than midfield. He's never fucking played that.
Folks said about Hamlin. Anyway, they said Hamlin played centre midfield for a wee bit. He was like 15 or something. And they're going to better than midfield.
Any decent football player plays in centre midfield when they're 14 and 15. That's where they play. They're on up front, and then they go find their position.
Ibita Till I Die said Bursic looked better. Triantis and Kwon looked good. Miko nearly with the World Day. Looking forward to them all being big players for us this year, only for us to start again next year when they all go back. John, I think the phrase from Malky Mackay at starting the transfer window was that we were not. Well, it was Ben Kent's, wasn't it? We'll not be building the team on loans this season, and I think 40% of our transfer activity has been loans. is it a case of it being a negative that we'll have to start again when they'll go back next year, or is this part of the master plan that they are essentially stopgaps until we can do a proper rebuild next year?
It's quite interesting, actually, because I listened to Malcolm Mackay's interview in the car today, and he was talking about the numbers this window. He doesn't want to be doing that every window. He wants to only be maybe adding a couple every window. But then, what did you say? There was about 40% of the team are built on loans. Are they easily replaced next season? But if you take what Kensal said, that you didn't want to build a team on loans, and we have built a team on loans, but we also know that there's going to be a lot of people that are out of contract at the end of next season that requires a rebuild. That suggests, I think, that we do need more than just a couple of bodies in. But it's never just
about that on extra time. We should cover that. Keep a note to mention that.
It's another example of the contradictions and what actually happens and what they say is going to happen. And like for even that, like, so you got a contradiction there for what was promised to what happened, but already we can tell from what you just said there, John, there's a contradiction between how Malcolm Mackay's presenting next summer's transfer window to what we know is going to have to happen, because you can't have.
I'm going to try and give them the benefit of the doubt and say that some of those things are fluid. Like, for example, we've got Kaharovic on loan.
Mm-hmm.
Could that become permanent, for example? Like, at this stage, we just don't know. And that may be true of the other players as well. So, like, we've already seen earlier this week where, I can't even think of a different name from it, but Leon Russo was saying that Ben Kensal had said that there was money available, not that we were actually going to spend it. So
I don't know.
I'll try to apply some clever spin here.
Rested in a bank account. Right, Mark Loftus has messaged in from New Zealand. Hi, Mark. He said 2 weeks to get all the new players bedded in and firing for St Johnstone. To state the obvious, cut out the individual errors and that team can win games. Actually, if we'd won the last two games rather than dropping the points at the end, we're sitting comfortably in the top six now. Colin, how important is the international break to David Craig just now to get 2 weeks for the team?
Really important. I actually forgot it was an international break, although I've just remembered, because it's a women's derby on Friday as well, isn't it? RWY.
Yeah.
There's free tickets available, so you should grab a ticket and go Easter Road Friday night for that. But because we've got Hoylett, Iredale, Cadden, the other Cadden's just back for injury. There's a load of bodies there that are
Yuan
needing to get fit. Yuan, if he's fit again, available, I'm not sure. We've got these boys that could come back and make an impact if they could. And then you've got like midfield shape like Kwon and Triantis to play together. There's a couple of weeks there to get them comfortable with each other. Obviously they play today, but like more time. I think it's really important. It's probably a wee win today would have been great, or the last 2 weeks would have been great. Just feeling good about it, but to then have these 2 weeks, whereas now it's like quite an important. It's even more important 2 weeks because we need to pick points up.
Yeah.
Whenever it is, when we come back. What weekend is it we're back?
17? No,
17th.
hang on. 17th, so Tuesday.
Must be the 15th. 2 weeks today. 14th.
Yeah.
2
weeks
yesterday.
yesterday.
Be the 14th.
Which is the day before I do the kilt walk. So everybody have a wee look at my sponsor page. Hey, look at that. If I could be in it, I'd do it halfway through.
You've done well here, Colin. Just like seamlessly dropping things in, eh?
Amazing.
See if we'd had 2 wins after the 3 defeats, albeit in different competitions, and then we had the international break. Do you think that there would be a chance there that would have interrupted any sort of like natural, what's the word I'm looking for, momentum, fluency, etc. Whereas like I think, like I'm trying to look at the international break as a wee bit of a positive, where like Colin suggested, like we had 2 players a day that were playing together for the first time. One of them had his first 90 minutes, I think, in Kwon. He never played 90 minutes against Dundee, so he looks like he's got up to match fitness. So like there's definitely opportunity there to get a bit more fluency amongst the squad, and even just like familiarity, whether it's through training sessions. I'm going to suggest that they might try and have a bounce game organised, maybe against the Hibs development side or something.
Each other, just play each other. We're bringing that good squad.
Right, David said, genuinely becoming disinterested. I just don't have the hope that the leaders and coaches can improve this. Too many repetitive results and waffle of jam tomorrow. Almost done. Can't see me attending too many games going forward. I mean, that's, I suppose, the counter. I think we've talked about the game quite positively today, but there is that that sense of deja vu, isn't it? That when history repeats itself in the way that it has done, and we're now looking at 4 games into the season without a win on the board yet, Colin. Can you understand why folk would be sort of like, I'm kind of getting sick of putting up with this?
Yeah, I can, and actually, I'm not naming any names, but I know folk that go home and away, and I know a few that did the Brothers Day, and they're home and away, proud of it, and didn't go.
Yeah.
And for no real reason, like that could, that other than fuck it, and you think, fuck, these boys go everywhere.
Aye. That should be a worry, eh? Like, really.
Aye.
Were they out climbing mountains by any chance?
Watching on the fucking telly, and that's the thing. And not even wrong yet, but it's like you go, they're the folk that are invited to these Hibs first meetings, and you know what I mean, and they go. But some of them were even in Amsterdam at the pre-season there was Amsterdam played a pre-season game.
Holland, yeah,
for that,
yeah,
and didn't go today. Like go to Amsterdam for a pre-season game, but didn't go to Kilmarnock. And I'm not slagging them off for that. I'm just saying that there is people, and I know we've had a sort of thing disengaged and all that, but you think it's maybe no disengaged is the word. It's pissed off. Is maybe the word. None of them have said that. That's why to me. But I'm just looking at it going, they would never miss Kilmarnock away.
Yeah,
and they did.
Mike Berry said, I actually think that given the amount of nonsense that's clearly going on at Easter Road, so David Gray is doing a reasonable job of trying to build a functioning team. We have Stuart Anderson who says we have Yuan and Hoylett to return. We will be fine. Midfield wasn't our weak point in months. I think it means for the first time in months. That was probably the first time, John, that we've seen a midfield look like a proper functioning midfield since the sort of League Cup games.
Aye, it's an interesting point, and I wonder if that builds on what I was saying about Kwon, about like nothing really sticking out that any of the players had done poorly. Like you couldn't point at anyone and say like you're getting overrun or you're not putting in the effort or blah blah blah. So aye, but it like the concern and to the point that you asked before about deja vu, etc. It's the same outcome, but it is slightly different, like the errors that were there.
Is it?
So I'm positive. Sorry, I'm optimistic that we'll resolve them. But I know I thought the midfield, now that you mentioned it, did actually look pretty good today. I'd still like to see 2 up front, but I know that's maybe a wee bit a pipe dream with what Colin was saying about like the way he needs to play in the modern game to get 2 folk up front.
Hibby Pessimist said, whilst another kick in the stones ending, I think there were positives to take and build on, so hopefully not an exact like, oh shit, here we go again episode. Kaiser Soze said, Hibs are so fragile mentally. So Malky said we were bringing in leaders. Where are they? There is an air of inevitability in every game that Hibs will chuck it at some point. Colin, that inevitability, is that just purely because we keep doing it? And is it something that it's just going to take like 4 or 5 games of us not doing it to shake it?
I mean, that's exactly it. Stop doing it. Like that's how you shake that, because the area inevitability is probably a feeling rather than, and then it's like then it comes true. You know what I mean? It's no.
I was going to suggest that, like rather flippantly, that we could go for an unbeaten run for 4 or 5 seasons, and then you lose a goal in the 90th minute. To lose the game after 5 years, and folk would be saying typical Hibs. Like it's not. I know the feeling. Like I've been there and I've felt it and I've seen it, but I don't think it's subjective. Because in a different world, in a different set of circumstances, Obita doesn't make contact with the boy. He doesn't get the ball and they don't score and we go on and win.
It does feel, and last season, how many 2-2 draws did we have? It was 9. I think only one of them was us coming back from being behind. So there is like a repeating pattern of us kind of getting our noses in front of games and then not seeing them out.
Are we comparing like for like with that? Because like you could say last season, so there was a different manager there was different players there last season. This season we've got like even just like between the Bursik, O'Hora and Ekpatea, like there's differences there.
No, but we're the constant. We're the ones watching it. It's constant. So that's why the feeling pervades, isn't it? Because we watch it and you go, oh fucking, here we go again. And it's almost, it doesn't matter what's different on the pitch. The fact that it has happened again a couple of times, it reinforces that feeling. I think you do need like a period of time, maybe being under pressure for a couple of times where you're hanging on to a goal and seeing it out 2 or 3 times, or doing it when you're under pressure, or being the other way, just fucking blowing the team away and winning a few games by 2 or 3 goals, which we haven't really done for a while in the top flight. Vince Robinson said Triantis and Kwon were the highlights for me. Signs of promise. Fuck Stefano said dreadful game, only 1 or 2 players showing up is not good enough. Lorenzo said, one thing, could please sell Obita and use the money to keep Kwon, he's really good. And Rogers doesn't like Korean players at all. I don't know if that's true about Rogers. I'm just reading the words off the screen just before you try to sue me,
just Brendan, to be clear,
when you're listening. They pointed out sort of it being a bit a dreadful game. So it was not a particularly good game. Like objectively, it wasn't a good game. There was bits of the performance that were good. What do you think about the style of play that's emerging for the team at the moment? Is there one, and if there is it any good, Colin?
I don't know. We definitely kick the ball longer. Like, we definitely do. But then we had all the complaints last year about fucking about on our own goal line, and actually it's cost us goals this season doing it as well. So maybe it's right you do go longer. But I just do think if you're going to bypass the midfield like that, why not play 2 up front and let somebody go win some headers for the other one? Aye. Because it is a wee bit like we've went on and on about the midfield, and he's replaced a couple of them. Maybe just miss it out. Maybe that's the option.
Just shell it. John, you had mentioned talking about how bad the game was when you were watching them at Bees, certainly in the early stages. And that's referenced the pitch. But actually, last week against Dundee, it wasn't a particularly. I thought it was a good game, and it was 2 teams trying to win it. But in terms of patterns of play and style of play, I don't think either team really sort of showed that they had a way of playing. Mikey Stewart criticised us last season for it, but if it was Lee Johnson, the no identity chat, and then Montgomery came in here a way of playing. That you definitely could see, and obviously it just wasn't effective. Like he did it, but you knew what he was trying to do, it just weren't good. Is it a case of like this is what we would expect? There's 11 new players in the door. Some, like you said, there's been a midfielder playing together for the first team. The defence, I think, that was the first time we played 2 weeks in a row with the same defence and goalkeeper. Is it to be expected that we're not going to have that fluency, and that style of play should emerge over the course of the coming weeks and months?
I don't know. So I think last week I described the game as being entertaining but lacking quality in terms of like technical stuff and tactical stuff. But to be fair, like I'll be honest enough to say that I'm not sure that I would recognise much of that anyway. If we were better, so be it. That's kind of, or if we weren't as good, then so be it. Like that's the way that I kind of approach these things. Today was different. And for that first 20 minutes, I was like, fuck me, how are we here after 20 minutes? And nothing had really happened. It was just like I described, like head tennis and whatnot. And I think one of the things that we found, how to describe this, one of the things that we found before with like philosophies or style of plays or identities or like however it is that you want to describe it, we've tried to implement these things. It's not worked, so we've sacked the manager and moved on to something else. I wonder if there was something today about that horses for courses aspect where last week it was missing something. This week it was more of a battle because of the manager. The team that we're up against, the team that we're the person that was managing them. And I thought one of the things that we've lacked before is people saying like we've not got that grit, we're not able to win those battles. And I thought today we won those battles.
Yeah.
So and that's why I'm trying to look at it a wee bit positively. Like it suggested that last week, I think I suggested it was maybe like a wee chinky light that suggested that we were starting to turn a corner, albeit in the manner of a fucking oil tanker. Like it was going to be slow. We never saw as much of a turn today, but there was still positive to take from it. Like I'd like to think that we'll see more of the same. Like I'm not going to expect that we're going to go out against St Johnstone and be playing like a massively fluid game, because I think there's still going to have to be balance to be won there. We know what St Johnstone are like. So I forgot the question again because I've been talking that long. But I think we're okay. I think there's things that we've tried to say before, so like what you said about Mikey Shure, etc.
Yeah.
There's things that we've asked of ourselves before, like we didn't have this, there's no style, there's no direction. Well, fuck it. They've not worked for us in the past, so we need to do something different. And if something different is just grinding it out in a game like today and getting, whether it was a fortuitous goal or whether it was a wonder strike for Joe Newell that was undone by a mistake, then I think I'm all right with that.
I'm all right with it if we can start grinding it out. But I think that's the battle here is we're no way, and that's what we spoke mind that way back in July when I done the podcast with Marvin Bartley on the radio, on BBC, sorry. That was what we spoke about, is like, fuck your Hibs style if you can like throwing bodies on the line to win a game 1-0. We drew 1-0. You know what I mean? And that's the massive, that's the big step that we're missing, is actually managing to do that.
Right,
we'd all feel much better. Wouldn't be talking about style? We'd say, fucking, that was a great one. Ground it out.
You see, I've got a good example of that actually. It was, do you mind Jake Doyle scored his 2 against Ross County with Lawrence Balsall over? That was a pretty shit game apart from the 2 goals as well. But when I was in the pub afterwards, I was fucking buzzing because I'd just seen a wonder strike for Jake Doyle, and that was at 1-2-0 for the first time, and they got a league win for I don't know how long before that.
It is funny how like the result does. Ultimately, it is the most important. It does totally sway how you feel about a game. Like I think if we had got the points this week and last week, we're talking much more about. Like there was a question about leaders. If I mentioned it,
yeah, you did.
I did, yeah. But it's a market talk about bringing the leaders in, and we've had these mistakes at the end. You go, oh fuck, where's leadership? But last week, if we had held out, we've come from behind. Like Hibs haven't come from behind for ages, and you use that as an example of that's the leadership coming through. We've got the right character, and you talk positively about these things, but we make that mistake, and then all of a sudden you forget that all that has gone before it. Had we not given away the penalty today, I know it's all like if you're freaking anti-had boys, she's your uncle type chat. But if we didn't do that, then it's 1-0. It's a tough away game that we've gone. We've been up against it going into the last wee bit. You've shown the character and all the rest to get it. So it does just sort of change your overall outlook when you get the end result. Right, last question, last talk about, because we're out of time, Colin. I'm going to give this one to you. John, you can pitch in as well if you want. Actually, it says it's for Richard. He says, I think David Gray is ducking the big decisions needed to turn this around. Starting lineup was all wrong. Boyle, Obita, and Miller very lucky to be near the first team. Is David Gray got or does he have an issue with his his mainstays that he's going to have to make some big decisions on?
I think he's given them every opportunity, though. I think that's what's happening. I think Boyle and Miller are probably closest to being out. Obita has not been playing well, but he's not really got any competition either for his place. So obviously Iredale might be, because I think he's a left back that can play less at a half. But other than that, he's not got any competition. The other two have.
It is.
So I think they're closest. But it's only how many games have played? 4.
4.
3?
Yeah, 4.
So you know what I mean. He's probably trying to settle in and get them. I'd expect him to play again after the break.
John, what about you? What do you think?
I think there's definitely like a very justifiable reason for dropping Obita. If you want to talk about that, it's been a big decision because he was player of the year last year. He's just not started this year very well. And I think at any stage of your career, I think you should be droppable in the interest of long-term improvement. And I think, can Nicky Cadden play left back?
I think he can, but he's not. He's more a left with midfield. What I read, he's played there, but it's like minimal games compared to. Whereas his brother's the other way around. I think more at the back he's played in midfield.
And you've got Iredale coming. It seems to be a little bit of competition, and there's a little bit of versatility there because I think he can play the left side centre half pairing as well. I think Boyle as well. There's probably an argument, like, albeit he started well in the League Cup, it's not, with the exception of his free kick last week, it's not really transferred into the league campaign. So there is a big decision there for David Gray to make, whether he twists or sticks. And I think that's probably true. Like, I think these guys, like, you've got a player of the year and you've got a guy who was sold and brought back to the club for big money or writing off the fees. Like, they're guys that you would be expecting to perform, but if they're not, then David Gray has to drop them at some point. Like, because otherwise, like, I think his time at Hibs as manager is going to be made or broken based on those sorts of decisions. Because I think we've seen it with other managers where it seems like now favourites, even when they're not performing particularly well. I'm not going to say that Marcondes, for example, was a Montgomery favourite, but you were looking for more out of Marcondes, and we persisted with him. And did they really get the performances that we're looking at? And Montgomery got showed the door. And I think probably true, like, Miller as well. I actually didn't think Miller was too bad today. However, he has also had that wee sort of petulant kick out that has cost us previously, while Gray's been part of the coaching team. So he's got to be aware of that, and he's got to be having those sorts of conversations. And I think there has to be a point where you go, right, that's like almost parent-like. That's one too many. You're going to go sit on the naughty step.
And that's it, because he'll lose his job. Every coach has got favourites. It's just then how they actually manage it and handle it through, innit? Because 4 games for Obita, he was player of the year. Like, how long? Boyle's maybe went on a wee bit longer, so he'll lose his job at the end of it if he doesn't do something about it. That's effectively what will happen.
Good news. Okay, right. Thank you, everyone, for your talking points. Sorry if we didn't get to yours. We'll be back tomorrow on Extra Time for subscribers, where we will have a wee rundown of the transfer window and assess the squad. We'll maybe talk about Malcolm Mackay's wee interview that he did on Hibs TV last night. Thanks for tuning in. If you do subscribe, thanks for subscribing. If you don't already subscribe, go to Patreon. You can get a free trial on there. We do have an upcoming competition that we're going to be running with Leaf Spirits as well, but we're waiting for the first win of the season to launch it. So hopefully you'll get all the details. Hopefully it's this season, and hopefully you'll get the details of it after we play St Johnstone after the international break. But stay tuned for that. And thanks for listening. We will see you next time.
Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee. I don't drink water, no.